Good evening, YouTube. This is Kaylin Stern coming at you with my last meal from this Russian winter ration. And I just basically pulled everything that I had planned on reviewing out of the box, and I just got rid of that box. And obviously, I have the bag, but I just decided to use an older thumbnail. But tonight will be the soup. And I have a bowl back here for it. And because I have already used the tea and the coffee from this ration, I still wanted to have a hot drink, so I pulled one of the Polish herbal teas that I got along with this ration. Then this is that tuna and tomato sauce, kind of like a pate but not. And then this is a British cold drink. This is mango passion fruit blend. That will go into the drinking jar. And then this is the kasha, and it possibly could be barley. I just didn't bother to try to translate because it's hard to do on a round can or on a curved surface like that pate that I decided not to eat because I can't figure out what the meat source is, if it's beef or pork, so I just decided to leave that one out completely. So I'm just going to go ahead and start opening things up. I just pulled a plastic bag out of my pocket. That's where all the trash will go, as usual. Oops, sorry, let me fix that. This has the color of the passion fruit. That drink came from a British ration. That ORP that I did, I just saved one of the drink mixes from it that I did not use when I did that one. I'll just put that can there for the moment. So this looks like that forest fruit tea that also came from a Polish ration, has that same color. No tear notch on this, so I'll get the cheaters out. So that's what the soup mix looks like. I see a bit of something red, possibly pepper. That's probably bell pepper in there. But what I'm going to do is these busted up crackers, or at least some of these are going into the soup since they're already busted up. But I got both of these packs here. I just held on to them. So I will go ahead and put this in the water, and I will bring back. Let's see. Actually, let's see who's here. Melanie is here. Spicy tuna rolls is here so far. Thanks for dropping in. I see a third like, so someone came in and probably has not typed in a comment or got kicked out. Who knows what. But I'm going to go put this in the pot to start heating that up, and then I will bring back the water for this. And I may, since it's been a long time since I've had a Russian soup, I don't know if they thicken up real fast like the French ones do. We'll just have to see about that if I decide to go ahead and do that, or if I'll wait a little bit until after I open this up. I just put the kettle back on. I did not shut the burner off. When you use hot water, these granulated things or pelletized things don't take too long to dissolve. There's Mama Styles in the house. Camp Patton Family Compound is here. Thanks for dropping in. That's okay, you know. You do what you got to do. I'm going to give my cold drink another mix. The ones that have a lot of sugar in them do take a lot longer to dissolve. That's why I tend to mix them first before doing anything else. So I will not open these crackers yet. I will go ahead and get rid of this. Now, this is the tuna in the tomato sauce. And it has some kind of oil in it. I'm breaking it up because it's in pretty good sized clumps. Some escape, but oh well. So I had to have an early taste of that. Here's the Carlos Perry in the house. Thanks for dropping in. Which I might leave that in between. There's my crusher here. Now, these Russian crackers don't have a good survival rate as far as, you know, they don't hold up all that well. And this is the only one out of that pack that did not break at all. But I have this pack here. I'm not sure if I'll open that up, but I'll go ahead and open up this bar. This one got a bit squished, but it'll still be fine. These bars are very good. They're all fruit. Yeah, there's been a lot of that stuff going around. I am going to go ahead and bring back the kasha, and then I'll get that out here, and then we'll also put the water in the soup mix. There we go, that should do. Put that back there. As usual, the label fell right off the can. I have a paper towel to dry the can off. I didn't quite leave it in as long as I had in the past. Ah, no tab failure. Good. But the glue on there is still fairly sticky. Look how clean that came off. This one I will dump out of the can. Because this is so densely packed in here. Give you a close-up of this. Yeah, I would definitely say that is buckwheat, like someone thought it might be when I was showing this can earlier. Just lightly seasoned, not extremely salty. But it's definitely one of those things that you would love to have on a cold day. Cliff is here. Thanks for dropping in. It's a little. Yeah, my mom had the big nasty for. Oh, she was only in quarantine for about 10 days. But she remained in the rehab center for a few extra days beyond that. Just add another little bit of water to the cold drink. And for those just coming in, not seeing this, this is meal 3 from the 2019 pack Russian 24-hour winter ration in the black and white camel bag. This soup has not thickened up a whole lot, so it's a different formulation than some of the French soups, which tend to thicken up over time. And it may have thickened up just a little bit, but this is not a whole lot. No, that's actually, I think this might be carrot. Yeah, that's carrot. And these little bits here are like a crouton. And then just some of the mix has not quite dissolved yet, so it's kind of like it tastes like a chicken base. And it looks like it would be a chicken base. There is James Ortiz in the house. Thanks for dropping in. So again, here is the tuna and tomato sauce. I had to break up the tuna because, again, it was pretty densely packed. It looks like ketchup. Now I've got the soup here. This is the beef and barley kasha. I opened up the Russian crackers that have no color label, just a sticker. So I still have this pack. And I opened up these here because the broken bits, which I'm dropping into the soup. See, there is a bit of the beef right there. It's a little bit more processed than the stewed beef, but not to the point of being like ground beef. But this is obviously a whole lot more barley than the beef itself. There's a bigger piece of the meat right there. Yeah, my younger nephew had it for the second time last month, so that's why he did not come over to my oldest sister's house. Sorry about that noise. Pumpkin likes to claw on boxes, especially if a box contains something that I do not want to get damaged, so. But she just wants to claw on the box, even though there's so much more cardboard around here that she could claw on. But that's a cat for you. But yeah, so this is my younger nephew's second time having it. He wasn't quite as sick, but he didn't want to spread it around, so he stayed home and we just put him on speaker, speakerphone, or just talk to him that way for a little bit. And of course, my sister, who had the surgery after Thanksgiving, she obviously didn't come because she can't put any weight on it, and because we all live in places that have stairs except for my mom. Well, her apartment has elevator, but still she would have to get out of the car and walk into the building. And even with the walker that she has, it's extremely difficult. So we talked to her on the phone. That way, they both could feel included. And my mom was sick, but she didn't have the big nasty. She was just sick. But we had her on the phone as well. Yeah, I agree. That can be nasty when that happens. I'm going to have a drink of this. I haven't had any of this Polish hot herbal tea in a long time. It tastes fruity. It tastes like the forest fruit tea that comes in the chocolate burgundy-esque bigger pouches that you could mix it in. It tastes kind of like that. But yet it also kind of it reminds me of a hibiscus. It's kind of got a bit of that sweetness and other flavors in there. So I really do enjoy that. But I do really like these kasha type dishes. And this is a tuna in a tomato sauce, which looks like ketchup. It almost tastes like ketchup, but not quite. But because the tuna is so dense and it's in bigger chunks, you have to break it up. So you'd have to spoon it onto a cracker. Now, these crackers don't quite hold up as well as these do. And it just tastes old, but it still has crunch. The first packet of these did not have the crunch that these do, and that's kind of weird coming out of the same ration. But they add a bit more of the savoriness to that soup. Well, that's good that some of that one survived. Yeah, those foil tins, like the pate came in. It, I showed you how dinged up that was. I'm surprised that one didn't leak, but the leaker was that veggie caviar type stuff that was in a similar tin. Uh, if they go to this, it may mean more weight, but the contents are much better protected. I mean, it would take a lot more to ding this up than those thin foil tins. My Polish main that I have that also came out of that same box, it's in one of those foiled tins, so. But it survived. It just got a little bit dinged up. But no doubt that one is going to be pretty darn good. Mango passion fruit. You wouldn't think that would be a good flavor combination, but it works. Yep, that one definitely works. Yep, that looks like the color passion fruit. Or it could be the color of orange papaya. But that combination does work. Again, these British drinks call for 500 mils of water, or just over a pint, but I mix it strong. That's just my personal preference. Yeah, the British canteen cup holds that much water, and they would probably go ahead and follow the instructions for mixing it if they had enough water in their canteen to do so, or if they collected enough that they had treated. You know, British rations come with 6 water purification tablets, or at least the 24-hour ones do. This Russian one had 3. So I'm happy to get all these extra water purification tablets. I just dropped another piece of cracker in there. If this was not tuna, or if I had that veggie caviar stuff, I would put that on top of that kasha, but because I don't have that, I can't do that because that one was the problem. That's why that was not in there. And one of the 3 spoons that was in this ration got taken out. And the sugar packets, there was only 2. I thought there were 3, but when there was only 2, so one of them was completely compromised. So that one did not make it here. And speaking of killing zombies, DeCarlos tossed up a video of him opening a box that he got. Well, not today, but recently he tossed up a video of him opening up a box, and he got a few extra items in there that he did not specifically request, which is pretty darn cool. And of course, what did Killing Zombies do today? He put up a video of him opening a box he got from Booger Butt and Booger Butt. So we're just kind of spreading the ration love around. I'm just putting some of this on a cracker just for the heck of it. But I'll just stick to eating it straight up just like this. Having that fruity drink to me is a nice complement to this savory stuff, but without being super sweet. Yeah, a bit of hot sauce would probably wake this up. But the ration packer doesn't put it in there. So I had to spoon it on since this is not a dippable kind of a thing. I think there might even be a bean in here because I've picked up the texture of a bean in an earlier bite of that. And it kind of tastes like there might be some kind of a bean in there as well. Now, if this thing had a little bit of spice, that would be good too. But other than that, the flavor is pretty decent for a ration. Just wanted to make sure that it's in focus because I'm moving my hands in and out of view or moving my spork, and it doesn't always refocus. But at least with this one, it's a lot easier to do than my Samsung phone. Yeah, I've retired it, but obviously it's going to stay in my possession just in case I need a backup to my backup to my backup, so to speak. And even the one that this phone replaced, I'm still holding on to it because I still want to have a backup in case something happens to this one. And all I did was just take the SIM card out of that one and put it in here and put the memory card in. But I had to go to the store to get someone to help me get the files to transfer over because I couldn't get it to do that, but the guy in the store was able to do that for me. Gonna have another bite of the soup. The croutons on these cracker bits are starting to break down. So it's kind of thickening up a little bit, but I don't care. Yeah, that's not a bad soup. Some might think it's a bit salty, but putting the crackers in there kind of knocks that saltiness down a little bit, and I might have even put in a little bit more water than it called for. It calls for like, a cup of water, 250 mils. I might have put in a tad more than that. But other than the cold drink mixes that were in here, they're all clumped up where I had to really work them, and I just let them sit several hours. The flavor of that drink is actually not bad. It's kind of a citrus type flavor, but the texture of it, apparently more moisture than usual was in there. Yeah, if they would go to more a straight up powder like this was, those drinks would be a whole lot easier to mix up in the field than ones that are already moist and clumpy. I just broke up that larger chunk of meat to give you more of a close up of the texture of it. And the amount of fat that was in here that kept it from being dried out. So the meat itself is not dry, which is more than you could say about some of the meats in some American rations. Yep, see, there's a bean. I think that red kidney bean got used in that. Yeah, he's probably not the only one enjoying that game that you got on. And have another drink of this. And this bar got a little squished. Yep. That's how dark these are inside. Figured this fig is the, I would call it the carrier fruit. That's the dominant fruit. And then all the others are mixed in with it, or it could be plum. Sometimes dates are used as a carrier fruit in some of these bars. But this one is definitely plum and fig. Yeah, we can get fresh and dried figs at the store where I get all my halal meats from and other things. But the fresh ones are a lot rarer to find. Usually it's the dried ones because they don't have the ability to keep fresh things like that long term. Oh wow, that would be awesome to have your own fig trees. I think people can have them here in Iowa. I haven't had a fresh fig in years. Yeah, the only time I've ever had pomegranate is just the one that was picked up from a store. And I'll tell you, they are a bugger to get open. Yeah, I think if you like that type of fruit, I think you would like fresh figs. They're definitely a step up from the pureed, concentrated stuff that you get inside of a fig Newton. I have no idea when figs would be in season around here or where they're shipped in from. I'm not sure if the picking season would be in the fall or summer or what. There is Booger Butt and Booger Butt in the house. Thanks for dropping in. I hope you saw Killing Zombies opening up that box set you sent him. He really liked seeing all those goodies. But you made it here. So this is like kind of a chicken bouillon flavored soup with bits of carrot in there and croutons, and then I just tossed some cracker bits in there. This is the all fruit bar. Then I opened up the crackers that have only 6 in, where this one has 8. This one has the blue writing on it. See, this one is slightly, I think it might be just a hair thicker than these. And some of the broken bits went into the soup. And then this is more like, I thought it was, if there's any, it's like beans and tomato sauce. I'm not really getting much of anything else. Like red kidney beans and ketchup. That's what this kind of tastes like, but it's actually not bad. So if there's anything, I thought it was tuna, because tuna in the tomato sauce comes in a can that is like this with that red card that I pulled off before popping up the tab. There is multi-magnum in the house. Thanks for dropping in. That's okay. Late is when you're only catching it at after it's gone to replay. But this is the beef and barley kasha. And then for hot drink, this is the Polish herbal tea that looks and sort of tastes like the forest fruit tea that you would mix cold or hot. And it kind of reminds me of a hibiscus tea. So it's kind of fruity. And then the cold drink is a mango passion fruit from the British ORP that I opened up last month. Or I could say last year. I still have this package of crackers. I may not open it up. I just may have these for a snack. Sometime later in the week. And just scrolling back through the chat just to make sure not missing anything. Yep, that's the best you can do. And you can say the same for LJ. Hope to see both of you on camera again sometime in the near future when he's not all tied up with his activities. Yeah, this is the Russian winter ration that came in that black and white camo bag. So this is my final meal from that. The beef and barley kasha. The beef is slightly more processed than the stewed beef, but not to the point of being almost like ground. So there is what the beef looks like. And this looks like beans in ketchup. probably should have translated this one because I kept thinking it was tuna and tomato sauce. Let's see. Well, only losing by 6. I would say that at least they gave their opponents a run for their money. That perhaps they'll do better next time and kick some serious tail. But yeah, I mean, it's you don't have to score every time. If you can give an assist, you can you can guard your shooter. Grab that rebound. Block shots. That's all part of the game too. Have some more of this soup. It has a piece of carrot. They have continued to rehydrate as the soup has been sitting here. Oh, that's a crapper. I mean, it would be, if that's a full case, if you could get a decent shipping price on it, then it probably would be worth getting those just so you can check them out, see how they held up. I am looking to spend my next Google payment on rations. Because right now I have 3 complete rations in the box, but one is the beef brisket that I have already reviewed last year, and I really don't want to do that again. But I bought it off the seller just for the heck of it. So I may sell it or I may trade it. But I have some loose components that I can put together meals with. I have a standard USMRE vegetarian one, and then I have a totem in the box. So those two I will open up, but my extra beef brisket one, I would be open to just selling it or trading it for something else. I posted that in the group chat. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Yeah, that's the pork rib shape that looks exactly like the McDonald's McRib, and it looks exactly like the rib shaped patties that my college had back in the 80s. I mean, made me wonder if all of these came from the same producer or they got the recipe from the same source and then it just got knocked off by the different companies. I mean, the shape is the same, the size is the same, the color is the same. I mean, it just wouldn't surprise me if all these so-called pork rib patties came from one single source. I'm going to have another bite of this fruit bar. That's pretty darn funny. I mean, you can do a fair amount with tofu, but it's just hard to make that stuff have the texture of meat. Yep, that is pretty crazy what these idiots will do. Yeah, I don't go there myself. I haven't unless someone actually gets something and just gives it to me or offers it to me, and I just don't eat McDonald's food. I've lost my taste for it. That one surprised me about something like that not being so widely known either. Cliff is up in Alaska. No, that tofurkey stuff. There is Tim in the house. Thanks for dropping in. Because tofu is so smooth, it would be like you get the texture of bologna or Vienna sausage or pate. That's pretty much it. You'll you'll never get a real meat texture out of it. Yeah, that yeah, anything but those pies are probably made in a central facility and then just sent off to the individual locations to serve. That would be my guess on that. I used to eat at a particular Burger King when it was located in downtown Des Moines on Walnut Street. It was one of the options that I would choose when I was going in between clients and I was taking a lunch break. I had a few different locations that I could switch between. Or if I didn't have time to sit and eat lunch, then I would just put some open and eat foods in my work bag. But I really don't go for any of that anymore. Again, just like McDonald's, unless someone offers it to me and it's something that I would not be, you know, it would not be something that I do not eat. Like I will not accept anything pig. And people know, I tell people that in advance. Chick-fil-A, I've only had stuff there once, and I was actually not all that impressed with their uh, with their chicken. Wow, I've heard of people being sensitive to beef after they get a serious case of Lyme disease, but to not be able to eat beef at all after having that abdominal surgery, that just sounds really weird to me. And beef is my preferred meat. I eat the most, or I eat a lot of it, but then I have been eating a lot of turkey and chicken and some tuna. beef is still my preferred meat. Although this past Thursday at my favorite local restaurant, they had lamb and goat available, so I had lamb on the bone that Gersha has. It was a toss up between the lamb or the goat, so I just picked the lamb. Maybe the next time they have it, I'll get the goat meat. Of course, the week before, the Thursday before, is my birthday, and they didn't have either lamb or goat available, so I had beef. Yeah, I heard of someone who had the band, but it broke. And that one was very, very painful for that person. It caused a lot of issues, so that person had to have a second surgery to fix the damage. Yeah, the sleeve may be different from the band. But I don't know a whole lot about any of that. I'm just not interested in any part of that. Just eating some more of the soup. That's a crouton that still hasn't completely dissolved. Until it went in my mouth. Mango passion fruit. Thanks for dropping in, Mike. The Viper is here. Thanks for dropping in. You're looking at what's left of the 2019 pack Russian 24-hour winter ration that came in the black and white camel bag. That bag is so cool, I just had to save it. So this, it's what's left of the beef and barley kasha. And this is like beans, red kidney beans in a what looks like ketchup, but doesn't quite have the vinegary taste that ketchup does, so but it's close to it. So there is a bean right there. Looks like a red kidney bean. And then this is it looks like a chicken bouillon with some dehydrated carrots which have fully rehydrated since it's been sitting here. Had some croutons, and I just put some pieces of these crackers in. This is the one that 6 to a pack, whereas these are 8 to a pack. So I had 2 packs of this, then 2 packs of these, and this is the only one of these that in this pack that did not break. Oh, that's okay, DeCarlos. At least you know it's working. It hasn't failed. This is that all fruit bar. The base, or what I call carrier fruit, is fig, but it's got plum, and the wrapper even had an apricot on there, so there's some apricot in here. I really like these bars. It's got some good sized chunks of the fruit in there, so it's not a real smooth bar. Nope, I don't get constipated after eating a ration. Of course, it's not like I eat them every day all the time. Yeah, this is a Polish herbal tea that's kind of a fruity flavor. Kind of reminds me of hibiscus. But yeah, it tastes like the forest fruit tea with a little bit of a hibiscus flavor. At least that's what I'm getting off of it. I had to pull that in because this ration only came with 1 coffee, 1 tea bag, and the 2 cold drink mixes, but they were very, very clumpy. And I mixed them up early in the morning or earlier in the day, like I think maybe 10 or 11, like 10 hours or so, or maybe at least 8 hours before I did the stream last week. And I just let it sit in my fridge and dissolve, and I mixed it up a few times occasionally. Yeah, sometimes it's not the constipation that will get to me after eating a ration. And sometimes, not too long after I close out the stream, I'll just say, I go dump a load. Yeah, I would like to get a few more brown bags as well. But they're very hard to find, especially to find them in good condition where you the food could still be edible. I've had the one corned beef hash one get compromised. Yeah, that was a bad one. The other two times I had the corned beef hash, it was it was perfect or near perfect. Just that one was messed up. I could not. I took one bite of that, a small bite, and that was too much of that one. It was just not good. And some of the other things in that one were not good, but yet some parts of that one were perfectly fine. It's just those particular items had already gone to crap. Of course, there have also been newer rations that had gone to crap. I had one retort pouch. I took it out of the hot water. I went to open it, and it just completely delaminated. The outer layer separated from the innermost layer, so you could literally see the food inside. I thought, nope, I'm not even going to go any further with that one. So I didn't even open that pouch to get the food out. I just wanted no more to do with that one. Yeah, there are some brown bags that I would like to try. Well, there's less and less of these available as people buy them and open them up or do whatever they do with them. That's probably what's going on. That's just my guess anyway. I would love to get my paws on some more foreign rations, but we all know how difficult that is these days. I will only try to order foreign rations if they are already here in the U.S. Because this one was already here in the U.S., I knew that I didn't have to worry about it being rated. I'm gonna finish off these beans. Gonna have another drink of this. Next week, I will bring out that one remaining totem that I have. I never had that particular menu in a totem before, so this is like my fourth totem that I will have opened up. That raspberry breakfast kasha that came out of this ration, that is now in my camping food bag. I'm actually not surprised. You know, he may have had some issues. West Virginia had some bad weather, so I could have screwed with his internet. Yeah, you should. If you are in any of like the Facebook or Messenger chats, send them a friend request. You can get to know each other and you can see DeCarlos's excessively adorable son. Well, I think he's excessively adorable. Well, we all make mistakes. We're all human. Oh yeah, that would hurt. I have never had that kind of an injury, and I hope I never do. The closest to that I've probably had was when several years ago when the outer meniscus in my right knee popped and tore, but there's nothing that can be done about it. Just let it heal naturally. But even that was just like, I mean, that is no comparison to rotator cuff. I've known some people who have had that, and it was a real crapper. I wonder who caused that screw up. They missed what should have been an easy one. Yeah, we'll just say enough said about that. And be sure you wash behind every single fin. There's some kids in the hall, younger relatives of a resident here. I have never had a Brazilian ration. The closest I could get is the Chilean DAF. And those I really enjoyed. I think the paella was my favorite, although not close anything close to a true legit Spanish paella. It was still pretty good. But those are the white bags. Like one of them was labeled as police ration, the other one I forget who was the target market for the other one. And then DAF did the tan bag ration for the actual military. I've never gotten any of those. But from the few that I've seen others open up on YouTube, they are exactly like the white bag DAF rations. So I wouldn't mind getting those again, except that the menu variety in those needs to be expanded. Oh, wow. That almost sounds like a nerve is being pinched. I do know all about that. Yeah, Spanish rations, the ones that I've had, have been pretty darn good. So if you can get some, I would definitely get them. You get some very interesting things in there. You can get squid in its own ink. You can get some other canned fishes like mackerel or sardines. Of course, you can get similar fish in Polish rations called sprats. There is Shadow Scout Swede in the house already Monday morning there. So good to see you in here. Yep, Monday morning there. Hopefully the weather is not too bad. Shadow does live streams on Saturdays. It's like midday, early afternoon our time because of the time difference between here and Sweden. Yeah, I would love to know his connections. Yeah, Swede's got to get his coffee. Okay, Tim, you can send it to me. As long as it's properly cooked, I'll eat it. Same with octopus. First time I had it, it was too rubbery, it was overcooked. But the second time I had it, it was spot on. It was easy to eat. It wasn't like chewing on a rubber hose. But I don't get octopus very often. I've only had it, I think, 3 times in total. And all 3 times is in a restaurant. Ooh. Sorry about that. Keep bumping that thing. Wow. That's a pretty good jump. Yesterday, it got up to 7 Fahrenheit here. And then today it got up to 23 Fahrenheit. So yesterday, I went to a party at a friend's house, and it was a potluck. So what I did was I brought home some chicken that we had left over from our Friday lunch at the mosque. We added chicken to our normal, what I call dirty rice. And that chicken was actually supposed to be something that we were going to have the Saturday before at a wedding, but the weather was pretty bad, so the lunch was canceled. In fact, we didn't even do lunch last Friday. So yesterday, or this past Friday, we had the lunch, but the chicken was brought in Thursday. So what I and another person did was, because the chicken was already cut up into smaller pieces, no bone, which meant it was easier to deal with, we seasoned it up, let it sit in the fridge overnight, then early, pretty much right after the morning prayer, because I actually spent Thursday night in the mosque because the weather had gone to crap. So, yeah, I wasn't prepared to do it, but I stayed all night. I just slept in the prayer room, or tried to sleep, but anyway. So after the morning prayer, brief disconnect. So then I got the chicken out. I added a few more things to it, like some onions that we had fried up the day before, and then just put them in the fridge. So added some of that, and then put that in the oven to bake, and then got set up to start cooking the ground beef, and then start the rice. And because we put all of the food into carryouts, the big ones that you get at a place that clamshell open, we've been using those for probably a year and a half now, since we started back doing the Friday lunches. Because during reduced activity, we'll just call it that, we were not serving lunch. People just come in, for the Friday prayer, and then they just haul tail home or back to work or whatever they're doing. But then we got the idea to put all the food in carryouts, so that way people could just take it with them if they didn't have time to eat it there. So we've been doing that ever since. So I will put the rice and meat mix in there, and then I throw a few pieces of the chicken on top of that, toss a spoon in it, close it up, stack it, and then that's how we do it. And put the water bottles out for people to take. So most people just take their lunch with them and head on back to work or school or wherever they're going. A few will eat it there. But yeah, so there's some chicken left over, so I brought that home. And then I had to get a ride to this friend's house, so I got a ride, and I looked at the post and, oh, it's a potluck. I know what I can do. So I took that chicken. It was like a chicken curry, but it had some red seasonings in it. So it was red instead of yellow like the soup. And then I had that pouch of the red and white quinoa that you could just put in the microwave for a minute or a minute and a half. What I did was I put that chicken in my small square glass casserole dish. I started to heat that up in the microwave, and then I added the quinoa, and then just heated it up a little bit more, and then packed that up. And I just got it packed up when my driver showed up. So then I took that as my contribution, and people liked it. But there's a bunch of other food there, so. But that was fun doing it that way. Yeah, I saw someone in in a in the Gersha Thursday. No, it was in a store. I ducked into a Walgreens. I think it was like Wednesday. I ducked into a Walgreens, and there was someone wearing shorts, and another person was wearing pants with holes in the knees. I'm thinking, what the heck is with these people? Now, if you Viper, if you send John a box, there better be something in it. Yeah, this soup is actually not too bad. It's not like the French ration soups that tend to thicken up over time, but this one was actually not too bad. I thought it would be more like a mushroom soup, but it's actually a chicken flavor with some carrots and some croutons, and then I tossed some cracker bits in there. It's not overly salty, which is right up my alley. And I might have poured a little bit more water in than what it actually called for. Oh, that would not be fun at all to be cold at 70 degrees. I used to wear jeans, but the ones I've had, they just were too tight in certain areas. They just didn't fit the way I wanted, so I just went to looser fitting clothes that would it would just give me a more room to move around. Plus, I have some that are slightly oversized so I could layer. Yeah, some of the ration soups can be pretty salty, and you gotta put something in like, maybe like a cracker or water it down some. Throwing some finer cracker bits in there just for the heck of it. Oh, most definitely, because you can adapt skills. Like after my one cousin got out of the Air Force, because she was a fighter jet mechanic, she could easily transition into a similar type job working on a different vehicle, because in her younger days she had worked on cars and trucks, because that is what she gravitated toward. She just got into that, and that's what she did. Yeah, the only time a higher degree like that would be good would be if it's in maybe something specific. Say, if my oldest sister wanted to, she could have gotten a master's in special ed. She had thought about it, but the school district would not have paid her much more to do that, so she just didn't do it. But then in 21, in June of 21, she officially retired from being a full time teacher. But then in 22, like the fall of 22, she went back as an associate because she wanted to be able to keep her pension, her IPERS. That that's a type of pension system for government and other public sector employees like teachers, police officers, firefighters, any government people who work in government jobs. Like school bus drivers and probably any public transit employees, I think, get that. Plus, she hadn't turned 60 yet. And now she's 61. She will continue to work as an associate until she decides that she wants to go ahead and completely quit that and start drawing the Social Security and sign up for Medicare. And if she wants to add a supplement onto that, so the IPERS pension will supplement her Social Security when she actually starts drawing that. My sister, who works for the TSA, is also building up her IPERS so that when she chooses to retire, she can start drawing on that. And my third sister, who is currently on temporary disability after having her foot surgery right after Thanksgiving, she works for a daycare center that serves a hospital. And so that daycare center is actually owned by a private company, but it's still the same facility, the same building. It's just under a new name. But as soon as she is cleared to go back to work, then she plans on going back to that same daycare center. Oh, sorry about that. But because that's not a government type job, she doesn't get the IPERS. She just has the 401k going. The employer kicks in part, then some gets taken out of her paycheck for that. Well, that's cool. Yeah, some of my favorite teachers are ones I had in Nebraska, as well as some here in Iowa, because I went to school in Nebraska as well as Iowa. But I have managed to reconnect with some of my old school buddies, the ones from Iowa, on Facebook. So when they would hear about someone that we knew passing, then I get the word from them. Yep. I had only worked in a restaurant for a few years, and I loved it when I was working for the original owner. But then when he turned it over to these other two guys, they started running a place downhill, and they were spending restaurant money on stupid stuff. Like when another restaurant next door went out of business because of tax violations, not paying their business taxes, then all of their stuff got put up for auction, and these guys would spend our restaurant money on some of that stuff when it had nothing to do with Greek food. Yeah, it was a restaurant called Papoose, and the original owner was awesome to work for. And then when the paycheck started bouncing, these guys were blaming the workers for the paychecks bouncing, saying it was their fault. And they didn't want to repay us after those paychecks bounced. And if you complain about it, they would reduce your hours. So as a result, I was cut down to 1 day a week lunch rush, and that wouldn't equate to maybe more than 4 hours. But the paychecks are still bouncing. And as I found out later, after it finally had enough of me complaining, they gave me $100 cash. And that was it. And I had enough of this nonsense. Of course, had I known then what I know now, I could have filed for unemployment. But I had no idea how it even worked. So I just didn't even bother because I didn't think that I would even qualify, considering the fact that I was just barely part time. But then back in '93, I don't remember if it was the flood itself that took them out or if they got nailed for tax evasion themselves. Oops, sorry about that. Let me fix that. Sorry about all the shakiness, but I want to get that mount back right. One of these days, I'm going to replace this mount. There we go. Now this thing right here is not so visible, but yeah, that was not good. So it also could have been a combination of the flood and the tax evasion. So I never did find out what happened to the original owner that handed it over to these two guys. You know, what his reaction was, and if he was mad at them or if he actually sued them for messing it up. You know, the quality of the food also kind of went downhill too. No. Unless you're in the right place at the right time and you got the right thing going, like Gersia, the place that I go to every week and does some catering for the mosque as well as other events that they may take food to. They started up in 21. Just as things were opening up, you know, people were getting their lives back to somewhat normal here. They opened up in the place that used to be a small Mexican restaurant. And the last Thursday when I was in on my birthday, which was the 11th, there were a couple of guys who came in who had not been in there since it was a Mexican restaurant. So they wanted to check it out, see what Ethiopian food is like. So they had it and they liked it. Yeah, I agree. Corporate life sucks. A door company I worked customer service for got sold to a bigger company, and I guess things kind of went downhill from there. Of course, I left before that happened. And then the home health agency that I worked for went the same way. It got ate up by a larger corporation, and it just got harder for, to work for them. Yeah, I am a Muslim. And I spend a lot of time volunteering, doing stuff at the mosque. And I'm kind of like when I started helping out with doing lunches and I was just helping out with the various events, then I just kind of fell into that role of, guess, like a supply manager, kitchen coordinator, things like that. You know, so I am a key holder. So I have keys to some of the rooms. And so I can go in and do things like if someone donates something, so the next time I go there, I can go put it away. I can check inventory of stuff, I can set things up. And of course, with the Gersha restaurant, I'm friends with the owners, and one of the owner of Gersha is actually a co-owner of Hillel Groceries. So Gersha makes the injera, Ethiopian round spongy bread that is sold at Hillel. So Gersha makes that, and they just take it over to Hillel, and then one of the workers in Hillel takes it out of the boxes and stacks the bags of the injera on the shelf for people to pick up when they want to buy it. Yeah, I worked, it was called MCO, the plant. You know, I first started working at the plant that was east of the railroad tracks on 21st Street, but south of Walnut. But then when the customer service part of it went into a downtown building, and I didn't have to worry about taking the bus, I could just walk from the apartment that I was living in at the time. Because when I was working at the East 21st Street location, I would get stuck behind those dang long trains. And I hated that. I told him, that I may be late because of the bus because, there's no way to get around the trains most of the time. You just have to sit and wait for that train to get out of the way. Oh, yeah, reference to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Is that who you're referring to? But anyway, back to when I was working at MCO, then when like I said, the customer service and other corporate, the administrative offices moved to this other building, I didn't have to worry about the buses anymore. And it was during one of those years that we had that nasty blizzard, and everybody else who made it into work kept asking me how I got there. And I said, I walked. I don't have to worry about the bus. I just started out earlier. It took me extra time. I had to stop several times so I could clear the ice off my glasses because condensation had froze on my glasses, so I had to wipe my glasses off. And then they ended up sending everybody home. Maybe about an hour and a half after I had taken my lunch break. But then after, I guess there are some changes going on there. And so they gave me the boot. And then they ended up getting bought out by Anderson. So after that, I never knew how long it stayed in business or if that facility where the doors are made eventually just got shut down because then later on I go by that building that I worked in and it had a completely different name. So another company eventually moved into that building on Center Street. Yeah, it's Anderson Windows. Yeah, that's the Anderson I'm referring to is the Anderson Windows. They they bought out MCO, or at least the door part of the business. The other part of the business that my one sister, who now works for the TSA, she worked for MCO as well, but she worked in the warehouse that handled like precision parts that were produced for other factories. So then that whole part of the business completely shut down. And so my sister went to look for another job, and TSA was hiring. This is like in 2002. So she got accepted into the screener training program, and she became a security screener. And then about 5 or 6 years ago, she went up into personnel management. Yeah, thanks for dropping in, Dave. Yeah, that just shows all the changes that have happened around here since I initially came to Des Moines at the end of '87 after I finished college in Arkansas. And things are still changing. The kaleidoscope It used to be known as the Kaleidoscope Mall when it was pretty much all retail, or that Burger King was that I used to go to. It's across the street from the, where Walgreens is now. Yeah, that is pretty much gone. Just the hub tower is left, and that is still occupied. So something else is going to go in between Fifth Street and that that part of Seventh, where where the base of the hub tower, the eastern part of that block in between Sixth and Seventh. Remember, I'm talking about Des Moines here, so not your streets in your town. But that is completely gone. Yeah. I used to know of CVS's existence, but only in other parts of the country. I did not expect it to come here to Iowa. We used to have Osco Drug, the Hammer Pharmacy that is on that used to be on East Sixth Street and Grand Avenue, went belly up, and now this other place, this Plain Talk Books and Coffee, expanded into the old Hammer space. Hey, that's 200 more than you could have had otherwise if you didn't have that. Yeah, Sears was the favorite stores, that my whole family had shopped at. We used their catalogs back in the day. When you would either call in your order or you'd fill out the order form and mail it. If you couldn't get to a store for whatever reason. Yeah, we used to love going to Sears, and to us, Yonkers was upscale. And I would only buy something from Yonkers if it went on on sale. Yeah, Yonkers was kind of like what Dillard's is, or what Kohl's is, or places like that. Well, I turned 58 on the 11th. So lately, if I'm in a Walgreens on a Tuesday or certain Tuesdays, that's their senior discount day. And they won't ask me if I want the senior discount, they'll just do it. Yeah, just getting the focus back. Yeah, sorry, that brightness changed. Sorry about that. Yeah, I guess, yeah, Cliff is still a young pup. Yep, that's right. Age is just a number. Yep, that's. I hope we're not boring you with our conversation. That's Gil of Camp Patton Family Compound. His other channel is Gray Man Prepping, and Gray is spelled with an A. But he's been busy doing work in his shop that also serves as a garage. He's been doing work in there. That's funny. Yeah, that's funny when AARP sends you stuff. I remember when I used to get things like that. I'm not ready for that yet. I'm only in my early 40s. Yeah, it's mango passion fruit flavor, and I mixed it a little strong instead of a whole pint or half a liter. This is probably maybe three. I probably started out like 350 mils or something like that, or 13 ounces. But I like doing that with those particular drinks because otherwise they would just taste a little weak. Yeah, he probably has to pull out his birth certificate to find out. Unless you have one of those errors like a relative had a birth certificate get messed up and it still can't be fixed. They still won't do anything to fix the error that was made way back in 63. I don't know why they don't want to do anything about it. Sorry about the light changes, just the way that's the way this camera works. Well, there are some people who have absolutely no idea when they were born because their parents don't tell them or guardian doesn't tell them or something to that effect. That usually happens in quote unquote lesser developed countries. There is Grow Big TV, and I would guess that is Joe. The other half of Grow Big TV is Courtney of Wide Family Farm. Well, I knew someone who's born on the leap day, and she only celebrated her birthday every 4 years. So when someone else would be 44, she said she was only 12. And that's just the way she wanted to do it. Of course, then if someone, you know, she would have to explain it, but that's what she did. She only wanted to celebrate her birthday only on February 29th. And that was just part of her personality. So one more bite of this fruit bar. That'll be gone. But to recap, this is the third meal of the Russian winter ration I've been dipping into. So tonight I had the soup, which turned out to be like a chicken flavor soup with carrots. And I had the beef barley kasha, which is or buckwheat, bits of beef mixed in with cooked buckwheat. And then the can that I thought was tuna and tomato sauce was actually red beans in the tomato sauce, which tasted somewhat like ketchup, but minus the vinegar. Ooh, ooh, Viper had a comment kicked. I know none of the mods did that. I know I didn't. All I see is the comments gone. Yeah, it's 67 to draw the full amount of Social Security. I think I have about one more or a little less than a year. Let's see, I got my current ID in November of 16 after I moved in here. So I have less than a year to renew it. And so I will have to get that so-called real ID, or at least find out if I'm eligible for it or I qualify for it. Because I know without it, I wouldn't be able to go into a federal government building, or take a commercial flight. But I don't want to do it until I find out if I can move into an apartment a couple of doors down The one that still has the bus door because I checked it a few days ago. That door is still messed up, so no one can live in there because it can't be locked because of some stupid idiot early last year who somehow got into the building and wanted to go into that apartment to assault the occupant. Yeah, I know about not growing up because my doctor's office says I lost 2 inches. I want those 2 inches back, dang it. My fishing license has been renewed so I can legally fish. Just not for trout because I don't get the trout stamp. I don't go anywhere where there's trout. Yeah, this one was produced in 2019. The other mains were a stewed beef that was called tushenya, not tushanka, so it's slightly different. And then it had a beef with peas, I think it was. And then with the stewed beef, I had the instant potatoes. I really do enjoy those instant potatoes. Lots of onion and garlic flavor in there, butter flavor. And so I had the soup with the kasha. So there was one more meat item that I did not eat, which is the pate. I could not figure out whether it was pork pate or beef pate. I could not figure that out. I can't read the ingredients because the top of it is kind of messed up. Plus, the text on it is curved like this. So the translator would just not make heads or tails out of it. Yeah, the apple butter is awesome. Well, Viper, maybe it's just one of their system burps, or I've had a seemingly innocuous word get blocked where it wouldn't let me post the comment. And then I would have to try to reword that comment a little different, and then it would be accepted. And that's even being a mod on a channel. I can't type in the chat here just because of the way that it does it on the phone or any mobile. Yeah, no doubt. And that's probably why none of us have heard from Outdoor Tactical. I have not seen anything from him for quite some time, so I have no idea about him because even when he does his videos in Russian, I still enjoyed watching him because he would go to some really awesome looking places. Sometimes he would have a companion with him, and they would both talk about the food that they're checking out. No, I haven't seen anything Dub C or some of the other guys, some of the other younger guys. So I have no idea what's going on with them. And some of the Brits that I have watched in the past, haven't heard anything from them in quite some time. The one that sent Nathan's Emery, a bunch of those, like 2011, 2012, UK 12-hour rations with the purple writing on the box. She had sent over a bunch of those to him, and then he passed them around, and I got one of those. But haven't heard from her. Haven't heard from the Aussies that we've watched in the past. Pete Review, haven't seen anything from him for some time. Or Old Mate Drop Bear, haven't seen anything from him in some time. Yeah, I watched that one. Oh yeah, you have. If you're not, I would check out Camp Patton Family Compound. He gets into all kinds of stuff on that channel. Yeah, Crombat Rations. I've seen something from him last year. I got a notification. Yeah, where Vasily goes or has gone. I mean, just it looks like very beautiful country over there. But yeah, I am wondering how he's doing with all this craziness going on. He has even gone to some sites where old, large military machines and weapons were placed or on display. And he has done some of his reviews at those locations. Yeah. Yeah, he just doesn't do things like he used to. I think it would be neat for Shadow Scout Swede to open up a Swedish ration and to sample it, see what he thinks of it. Yeah, finish that off. Yeah, I really like watching him. And he is on Facebook as well. Must be referring to that guy who he had running the camera for him and who would sample the coffee because I guess Nathan is not a coffee drinker. Yeah, I used to watch Kiwi Dude. In fact, the channel's still up. He just hasn't done anything for a long time. Yeah, Nathan had his sister doing a couple of things, but I guess I don't know if she got bored with it or just got busy. Wow, Viper's, yeah, what happened to Viper's comment got nixed again? Yeah, yeah, I figured. Okay, so that's what he's doing. So he put up one last year, but it was not a ration review. I think he was just showing some local area. Now it'd be nice to see some of these other guys pick back up. Yeah, there's another one, Apple Stuff, Bushcraft Stuff, and Things. Yeah, that's a long name. He used to do reviews. In fact, he had a tray exactly like this one. And that's where I got the idea to look for a tray like this one. Yeah, I think he's in, is it New Zealand or Australia? I kept thinking he was in New Zealand. Yeah, I would like to know how he's doing. It'd just be nice to see these people come back on again. Oh, good. I hope you get it. I really hope you get it. And if you can hook up with cyanide cookies while you're there, I think that would be fun if you could hook up with him. He's also known as Dan. Oh, cool. I don't even have a passport. Viper, you get another comment blocked again that you couldn't even get attempt to post it, or you just something else would come up. Yeah, thanks for dropping in, Joe. You go get some sleep. Yeah, Joe was doing the Uber thing before he went on to do the Sunday Fun Day on Grow Big TV. Now it's just yeah. I did not set any words to block. No, it's just something in the system. Yeah, I almost applied for one when there was a possibility that I could go to Germany and Austria, but when that went down the crapper, all I had to show for it was the picture that I got taken at Walgreens that I would have used for the passport application. And I had checked out a cassette and book set for learning some German from the library. So I just took that back. I was going to try to learn some German, but yeah, it was back in '97 when cassettes were still widely used. So that photo was as far as I got. I never took it any farther. When I went to Mexico back in '86, didn't need one. All I needed was the birth certificate and something that we got through the travel agency called a tourist card. And that was it. In addition to our plane tickets. And because I don't keep the original the original birth certificate, my mom keeps possession of that. I had a copy sent to me, which I use for job applications and such. But when that got too ratty and messed up, I just ditched it, and I have not requested a replacement. And I have not asked my mom to give me the original. I just don't care to be bothered with that right now. Yeah. But I'm not going to do that until I get my apartment situation straightened out, because I would have to do, I want to have the proper address. I don't want to have to go you know, get the new ID, but then have to go do it again because of the apartment number changed. I don't care to be bothered with going through that. I'm just going to wait until I get this all sorted out. It's on the management company to make that decision. Tell, you know, it's on them to tell me when they are going to have that other apartment fixed up, or at least take my idea of taking the door off of the apartment I'm in now, putting it on that one, or just get a new door because it does open. It the hinges are on the opposite side, so they probably just couldn't flip the door because the busted door is still on that other apartment. In fact, last time I took a peek, it actually been pushed open and the light was on. But I said, "No, I'm not going to go any further. There's still maybe I don't know if there's some legal stuff that's going on because of the attempted assault and break in. If that's why they haven't done anything with it, or they're just not able to get an exact duplicate of that door. See, the apartment numbers are on the door frame, not the door itself. There is Emphos in that house. I've eaten everything I planned on eating tonight. I still have this other packet of crackers, but this is just going to be a snack for another day. But I do thank you for dropping in. Hope everything is going over there. Yeah, sweet. That is totally different than what we have to do here. In fact, here we go to the post office to get the application. And we have to have the picture that is going to be used in the passport. And you go to a pharmacy like Walgreens or CVS to have the passport picture taken. And then you submit that along with the application and the other documents. You mail that into some address that's on the form that you get from the post office. I've seen it done at the post office as well, at the Second Avenue one. I've seen them do it there. But when I was originally going to try back in 97, I just went to a Walgreens because it was handy to go there. But when that whole plan went down the crapper, I just never pursued it any farther. But since I've never pursued it any farther, I have no idea if I would even qualify for a passport with, because I could get the birth certificate fine. I could just ask my mom to let me use it. For that purpose, if I pay the fee, I have no idea if my application would be accepted. You can also get here. You can also get some kind of a passport card. But that's a slightly different setup, and I have no idea how that works. But I'd rather have the regular passport that you would put the picture in, you get the stamps on it, and whatever else they stick in it. But I would only apply for a passport if there's a possibility that I could go to Mecca and Saudi Arabia to do the Hajj or Umrah. Umrah is kind of like a shortened form of the Hajj pilgrimage. You don't do as many of the rituals, and you're not there as long. Yeah, I don't even know if U.S. passports require a fingerprint. The few times I've been in the Second Avenue post office and people were doing the passports there, I've never seen anyone do the fingerprint thing. So I wasn't sure if that had changed since I had last watched people apply for passports. Right. The U.S. territories like Guam, U.S. Virgin Islands, American Samoa, Puerto Rico. Yeah, a passport is not required to go to those places, but I'm not a beach bum. Puerto Rico would be something that would be closer to being up my alley because the majority of the people there speak Spanish mainly. Almost everything is done in Spanish as well as, I mean, you hear more Spanish down there than English. But I'm more interested in places that are not so much tourist traps. And when I was in Mexico, we went to some places that were not exactly tourist traps. Outside of the pyramids, people that go to Mexico City, they usually try to at least go to the pyramids, even if they don't try to go up them, like I did. But we went to some places that were not quite so geared towards tourists. Like we went to a town called Tequila, where the Herradura distillery is located. And we went through and watched the whole process of taking the maguey, breaking it down into smaller pieces so it can be cooked to start to extract the liquid from it before it goes through the actual distillation process. And then you end up at the bottling line. But that day we were there were so many people going through that they ran out of visitor badges. Of course, this was in June of '84 when we did this, or no, '86. I was done. Yeah, June of '86. So it was summertime, so there are a lot of people out and doing stuff. And we went to some other suburbs of Guadalajara. We went to a place called Tonalá. That's another suburb. And the one weekend we spent in Mexico City, we saw some of the earthquake damage from the '85 earthquakes. Yeah, two big earthquakes took out a lot of buildings in Mexico City in September, including hospital. A fully loaded hospital was flattened. And the old Basilica de Guadalupe became too damaged and too unstable to use as a functioning church. So a new one got built next to it. So all of the important icons and other objects got taken out of the old basilica, the old building, and put in the modern one. And they set that up so people could go through behind the altar and down below on a moving sidewalk like you might find in some bigger airports. Yeah, no, and even then, because Mexico City was built on a lake bed, there was still settling that occurs. In fact, they had to cut steps down to the entrance of the new basilica so people could go in because it had still sunk that much. just in the time that it was built. And we couldn't go into all of the public areas of the presidential palace because of the damage. There were scaffolds for the workers to work on the repairs. Original plan was actually to take a night train, like Thursday night, to go from Guadalajara to Mexico City. But something happened with that, so we ended up taking a 35-minute flight Friday, like Friday morning, and we got lunch on the plane. Basically a sandwich and some other snack and a drink. Yeah, Puerto Vallarta, some members of our group went there when we had a weekend off where we didn't have any scheduled group activities. I stayed in Guadalajara because all the others wanted to do is just bum on the beach, and that's not my style. I've never been to Mazatlan or Cabo San Lucas. I was only in Guadalajara and Mexico City and some of the surrounding areas. But when my second oldest sister took a trip there, she went down to Yucatan. And Isla de las Mujeres, which means Island of the Women. I don't know the backstory behind that name, but that's just what it's called. But she was down there. You know, the typical tourist type stuff. You know, snorkeling in the bay. Yeah, thanks for dropping in. I'll probably be cutting this one pretty soon anyway. Yeah, Acapulco is another tourist trap I would choose to avoid. In fact, the way things are down there and have been for the past probably decade, I would not go anywhere in Mexico right now. I would go to Spain if I could. Yeah. And that's just the surface of the problem down there. But yeah, I would rather go to Spain. But I think I'm going to go ahead and call this one good. I've gone almost 3.5 hours, so too busy flapping our cyber jaws, I suppose. But for those that will watch this on the replay, I hope you like seeing this final meal of this Russian ration. So next week I will pull out a tailored operational training meal. The last one of those that I have. And we'll see what that one's all about. And after that, a vegetarian standard MRE. And who knows what after that. So again, I do want to thank you all for hanging out with me tonight. And I hope to see you next week. Anyway, thanks for watching. Catch you on the flip side.